before I start talking about the important stuff that we really are. So if you haven't been here before, what I do what I do here is I basically go through some homebrew building. It's because by doing it online and pseudo live, it helps me focus and gives me a way to build. And maybe every now and then we do have some people who pop in, interact, talk a little bit, and it helps me. So this is really just a for me sort of thing. Anyway, if you don't know me, like I said, my name's Matt. I go by Lucental online. I've been doing D&D now probably for well over, I want to say about 20 years, if not more. But anyway, what we're doing today is first let's do that so that the screen's a little bigger. We're going to be building our next archetype for our homebrew world. As you can see here, this is what I call our world book for Aryssan, and as you can see, we've built several. Today we're going to focus on building a wizard. As you see, it doesn't exist yet, and as I've said many times, when you're building your subclasses or magic items or really anything in your homebrew world, it should have something about it that makes it unique to that world, whether it ties into a setting, a city, or in this case, the what we're going to be building with this wizard is it's specifically linked to one of the major villains in the world, who is a fiend. It sort of changes whether I think devil or demon fits better, so we're sticking with fiend for here. And it's a wizard who's gone out, found some of the secrets and magic that this fiend has researched, and now, being a wizard, you compile all sorts of knowledge, and you're now trying to use those secrets without attracting the attention of this powerful fiend. As you can see, if you've been following for the past several months, our world book has gotten a little bit better. We now have a nice clean delineation of stuff that's for players, and then because we're starting to build more magic items and encounters and things, and we might eventually actually do stat blocks that aren't, but they'll probably just all be links to beyond stat blocks and then flavor text. We kind of needed this delineation here in our world book. But that's not really what you're here for. Um, you're also probably not here for this list of other previously built homebrews. So let's go ahead, and if you haven't built a subclass before, go on to the D&D Beyond site, find their creating subclasses guide on their forum, and it's going to tell you exactly what levels you need to do things. Wizards are a little bit different than other classes. They get their subclass at level 2, like I really think it's only clerics, sorcerer. It looks like actually it's all of the primary spellcasters get to specialize sooner than the non-spellcasters. So they get stuff at level 2, 6, 10, and 14. If you've not built a subclass before, I do recommend, here's my recommend looking at what the different classes get with their subclass. Wizards are weird. Some of their subclasses give them really, really cool things, like the Conjuration level 6 that you can teleport. That's neat. Like that's really powerful. But some of the other ones, they're level 6, isn't as great. Malleable Illusions is fun, but it's not giving you the same sort of raw power you're going to get from being able to teleport around or the Abjuration Ward. But ultimately, you're not getting too much power from your subclass unless you're trying to do something wizards normally don't do, like blade singing or war magic. And so, with that in mind, we want to give wizards something that makes them special, but we have to be very careful about giving wizards too much power, as is true with pretty much all primary spellcasters when you're building their subclass. So let's go ahead and create a homebrew subclass. We want to go ahead. We want to build a wizard. We're going to create it from scratch. We already have a name for this. It's a Bloodsmith. Someone told me last time how to version number, but I'm not very good at that. So let's go ahead and Alt tab over here. In the short description, I have a style that I like, and I think I basically stole this style straight from the 3035, or maybe it was the 4th edition books. And so now I just sort of steal the old text from another one of my subclasses, and then we go in and we make it relevant to the new one. So wizards normally seek out knowledge. Some wizards go even further, seeking out forbidden knowledge. Bloodsmith is a wizard that has sought out the secrets of a lost legendary lair of the Bloodlord. And since I can never remember how I spell his name, and now we're at the point where we need to be consistent, this is what our world book is great for. Doot. And the lost legendary lair of Bloodlord, and let's see if we can paste that in as plain text. Your studies have taught you how to operate the fiend's magic. Operate fiend's magic. But you constantly must balance access to this power with the knowledge that the Bloodlord guards the secrets of the forge jealously. And there we go. We have the narrative. What is a Bloodsmith? And then so the Bloodsmith is always trying to learn new things, master new arcane secrets, and is a risk taker by nature. Sure. And therefore is at home in almost any adventuring party. So that gives you an idea of where do you fit in the world, right? The short description. The longer description, this is going to be a little bit more mechanical. And so a Bloodsmith is a wizard focused on the combat sphere due to their ability to manipulate rolls and get the most out of their spells. However, most Bloodsmiths can contribute to the social pillar by contributing knowledge skills like other wizards. So one of the things that is that 5th edition does well, I think, from a design point of view, was those 3 pillars, the combat, social, and exploration pillars, because that gives you, as a designer, ways to think about your character or design in ways that the developers have also thought about writing their adventures. And so I think it's really cool, and whenever possible, if you don't have some other way of organizing your thoughts or putting things together, design around those 3 pillars. and you're going to definitely have, you're going to be pushed in a direction. It may not be the direction you like, it may not be the best direction, but you won't get stuck as long as you're like, there's a problem, how do I solve it? Oh, well, the player should be able to look at these three methods of problem solving, and 2 out of 3 of them should fit, if not all three. Anyway, that tangent is over. Bloodsmiths are generally loners, as their studies are inherently dangerous to their friends, though some strike up friendships and partnerships with others who seek out knowledge or lost secrets. The Bloodsmith chooses to use their well, a Bloodsmith may choose to use this knowledge, to use the knowledge they find in whatever way they choose. Heroic Bloodsmiths may seek out knowledge to solve problems, right wrongs, or prove the truth of theories to, and let's not say right wrongs, vindicate those smeared by history, or prove the truth of magical theories. So there we go. Reasons you might be traveling gives us a little idea of who the Bloodsmith is in the world. A Bloodsmith excels with powerful, with strong, with sturdy companions to serve as a front line for their magic, for their magic to augment, and they excel at ensuring high damage classes like rogues or paladins have consistency, maintain at improving high damage classes like rogues or paladins consistency. Alright. That's really all we need. We might be a little too mechanical there. When we do an edit pass on all of these, that's probably going to change. But anyway, this section I like. Play a Bloodsmith if you want to strike out to learn the truth, or I don't know what that is, or pilfer secrets. You want your magic to, you want to push your luck and have push your luck with high risk reward magic. High risk to reward magic. You want to have the reliability of a wizard with and are willing to pay a steep cost for access to let's change this to you are willing to pay a steep cost for access to powers not normally available to the wizard. You imagine your wizard as a free thinker or daring venture. Building a Bloodsmith. Like all wizards, a Bloodsmith's primary spellcasting statistic is intelligence. However, 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 bloodsmiths also rely on their wisdom to avoid being noticed by the Blood Lord, and should not neglect that stat. And all heroes can benefit from Constitution. The majority of the skills you are likely to choose as a wizard also benefit from intelligence. So there you go. And since your wisdom may be higher than average, look to including insight or perception among your skills. So there you go. Can the subclass cast spells? Spell casting ability. So these, I believe, are additional spells. Does this subclass use a full spell cast? So I think we don't need to add anything here because it's just going to be a wizard. Let's do a quick ignore all. Okay, we don't have any super embarrassing typos, so let's go to hit create subclass. Basic information is now in there, and so time to create some features. So the first thing we want is, if you steal, well, the first thing to do when you build a subclass is look at all of this stuff should be true. So our subclass needs to have a risk to reward gameplay. It should have access to things you normally can't get it as a wizard, but at a pretty big cost. You should rely more on your friends than most wizards do, especially for physicality. And you want to have the ability to do better with your spells than other wizards, but you're constantly playing a game of cat and mouse with a fiend. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to make that a gameplay, make all of that into a gameplay mechanic? So the first thing, we're calling them a bloodsmith, so let's let them make stuff with blood. So blood scepter, starting at 2nd level. And I already did, so before I used to do these off the cuff, and there was a lot of dead time when I wasn't talking as much or all of that. But with the monk we did last month or so, I had already thought out a lot of the mechanics, and there was just some tweaking here and there and figuring out how to fit it into the level flow, and I like that better. So you're going to see a lot more copying and pasting than we've done in the past. So here is our first feature, which is the blood scepter. In addition, you gain the reactions in the description below. So as a bloodsmith, the cool thing that you can do right off the bat, level 2, is you make your own arcane focus, which is this blood scepter. That's a club that you're proficient with, that you are proficient with, and as an arcane focus for your spells. So you can also pass off this magic club to someone else to, beat on things if they need to overcome resistances. We were going to make it a staff. So in the first iteration, it was going to be a bow, but that was kind of lame and pointless because we really don't want our bloodsmith to be using their filler actions to shoot a magic blood bow at things. We want you to be casting spells. That's what you do as a wizard. So we should focus on that. I know that there's war mages and blade singers, but in general, you cast spells as a wizard, so we wanted to focus on that. We did not want to give you a staff, though, because there's all sorts of shenanigans that you can do with a staff that you can't with a club using feats. So this was the compromise I came up with, so that you're going, if you're taking this, you're not taking it to sort of sneak into polearm shenanigans with your new free magic blood blood staff. It's straight up just, it's a magic club. You can beat things with it. It's a good arcane focus, and it's going to give you some powerful reactions. Which, let's see if this works. Oh, and we do need to say with which you are proficient, because apparently wizards. Let me see if I have it here. Nope, nope. I overshot it. There we are. Creating a wizard class features. Daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, light crossbows. They are just not proficient in clubs. I don't know why not, but I guess it's because they have quarterstaffs, so why would you ever use a club? But either way, that's why we needed that line about you are proficient with this magic club that you can create. Alright. And then the description should always include all of the stuff from the snippet. And then the stuff in here is going to be, we'll go over that in a little bit. Required class level 2, display order 1. It does not have options, and this is just granted. Alright, so all of that, you know. These should be a bulleted list that doesn't paste in neatly. So, whenever a friendly so here are your free reactions that you're getting, and these are all going to build onto the other thing you get at second level. There we go. Whenever a friendly creature takes damage, you may use your reaction to destroy your blood scepter. So I hope you're being a good wizard and have a backup focus, as all good casters should have, to magically infuse the blood. Basically, you get to prevent a friend from being either killed or just prevent some of the damage by immediately healing them. It's nice. It's a good reaction, and it kind of plays into the you're a little more reliant on your friends than other wizards, so you have this emergency button to keep bad things from happening to your friends. But it does cost you your own personal magic club and special arcane focus. And then the next part is going to come in when we show you our risk reward mechanic. Whenever you would suffer the consequence from your risk, you can also destroy this neat little blood scepter and redirect the bad effect to a hostile creature. So there you go. That's the basis of your class. You get two decent once a day reactions, and the first one becomes more and more important as you get to higher levels. For example, effects that can cause death instantly. Once you're around levels 9 to 11, there's a surprisingly large amount of those, and being able to say no to one is going to save your cleric a high level spell slot on Revivify or Resurrection, Raise Dead, Reincarnate, whatever. So this is really good, and that's why it has to be only once on a long rest. Plus, by making it a long rest instead of a short rest, we keep the wizard's power pacing what it should be, which is they need to marshal their resources out throughout the day, as opposed to other classes that can, like the warlock, who can just keep going and going and going. So let's create this feature. Is it giving me an error? And then we do want to add the two reactions in here. It's a general. It does not require you to be at a specific level. This is a ranged to name. Blood Scepter infusion. So I actually haven't played with stuff that actually it's a reaction, reset type, long rest, snippet. Okay, so let's see if we can make this easier, because twice the hit points used to create the Blood Scepter. No. So that's... It won't be able to do it automatically when you hit the button on your virtual tabletop of choice, but now at least the reaction will show up. So save, and then we have one more reaction. It's a general, and this is Blood Scepter redirection. So the save type is a Constitution save. There's our snippet. There's our description. Activation type, reaction. Reset type, long rest. Area of effect, attack range, ranged. Alright. Alright, so there we go. Our level 2 is pretty good. There's one other thing you need to get at level 2 as a Bloodsmith, and it's going to be the most exciting stuff you get, because here's your risk reward ratio. It's pilfering secrets. I was going to call it magic secrets, but I think that's what the bard feature's called, and so we couldn't. So pilfering secrets is what we have now. And this is probably going to get massively nerfed if I ever do a balance patch. Because I think the second bullet is too strong, but I always believe, choose one of the effects below, one of the effects in the description. Okay, and then here. So, the idea here, I keep doing that, is that we want you to be able to cast spells as a wizard. We want that to be your primary thing. So whenever you cast a spell of first level or higher, you can try and make it better. You are basically trying to rifle through the magical secrets that you know to improve the damage dealt by the spells you cast, which is you gain advantage on damage dealt by the spell you cast, and add, because we do need something a little bit better, and add your proficiency and the spell level to the total damage done. So there you go. It's probably never going to be a lot from your proficiency and spell level, but it's something. If a spell hits multiple targets, like magic missile, if a spell hits multiple targets, you may only add your proficiency and the spell level damage to one creature. So there we go. So no magic missile shenanigans for us. And then the one that I think will end up changing, if you target a friendly creature, they can start concentrating on that spell instead of you, which is part of the you rely on your friends more. It's really good. I'm not going to lie. There's like two things that when I read through like what the developers say not to do. One of them is don't mess with concentration, and here we are messing with concentration. And the other is don't don't use hit dice to do things, which we're also going to potentially break later. I think this might work because uh, here in the description we're going to define what being noticed does. Being noticed. Uh, it is incredibly, incredibly bad. So, where's my paste as plain text? Each time the creature is noticed by the Bloodlord, when reduced to 0 hit points, that creature automatically suffers a single failed death saving throw per time it had been noticed since the creature's last long rest. So it really doesn't affect monsters at all because they don't get death saving throws. Rules is written. If you give them those, then I guess it could matter. But for the heroes, what this means is that you can push your luck, but if you start concentrating on a spell for the wizard, that's one of your 3 death saves that are gone. I think that's a decent enough cost. It might be wrong, but whatever. Anyway, the creature immediately takes psychic damage equal to your intelligence modifier. So, what this also means is that if they start concentrating on that spell for you, they better be ready to make that concentration check. So, you shouldn't try and offload it on your low con friends because they're going to just lose it once your intelligence modifier is +5 and they've got a reasonably difficult save to make. Damage bypasses temporary hit points. It cannot be reduced in any way. And then, in addition, you gain notice of the Bloodlord for the following reasons. And these are just thematic things and to try and help focus what our wizard does. So our reasoning is divination isn't something we want this wizard doing because again we want them focused on combat spells, buffing their friends, things like that. So whenever they cast the divination spell, they have to make a saving throw, like they were trying to buff their spell with pilfering secrets. So you shouldn't be casting divination spells as a bloodsmith unless you're willing to take this risk. Whenever you roll doubles due to advantage offered by your blood scepter or pilfering secrets, you automatically get noticed. There's no save on that, so again, you're going to want to use it sparingly. Creatures who are concentrating on a spell due to your pilfering secrets are noticed whenever they roll doubles on any roll, including multiple dice for damage, such as sneak attack or greatsword. And if a creature is killed with your blood scepter, whoever's carrying it needs to make a saving throw or be noticed. So, a lot of ways to get noticed. You can negate one of them per day by blowing up your blood scepter, but it's a really bad thing to be noticed. But that's why we tried to make your buffing your combat spells a little bit better. And that is the core of your second level abilities. And this is display order. Display order 2 is missing. Required class level 2. Feature type granted. And this is not giving us any actions because we didn't want. You already have to use your reaction on a bunch of other things, so we didn't want to make you have to use your reaction to boost your spells with this. So if we come back to do a balance patch, what we'll probably do is make the damage that you do a little bit better, and make the concentration, we probably will totally get rid of it and change it to some other way to use your friends more. Um, Create class feature. Is it broken? No, they accepted it. So save changes. All right. So if you see, we're done with our level 2s. And here it is. So next we've got a level 6, 10, and 14 feature. I feel like we've given you a lot of power. So I don't feel like you need a whole lot. And level 6, you're coming off of getting your 3rd level spells. So level 6 can be pretty boring. So improved secret mastery. You always have advantage on saving throws to avoid being noticed by the Bloodlord. And you may use your reaction to give a friendly creature advantage on saving throws to avoid being noticed, or to grant a saving throw to avoid being noticed where one would normally not be allowed. The save DC is your spell save DC. So this is just another way to manage your manage the downside of your ability, and it means that when you get to level 6, your friends might be a little more willing to concentrate on spells for you now that you can give them a save to avoid automatically failing their automatically getting one notice. And it's a granted feature. And you don't really need much else at level 6, because you've got a lot at level 2. Level 10 is another ability that I don't... There's so many problems with it. Let me go ahead and copy and paste it. So here is what I want you to be able to get, right? This is Secrets of the Bloodforge. So what we want it to be is we want you to be able to get stuff wizards normally could not get. So whenever you gain a new spell level, so you get this at level 10, so it doesn't kick in until 11. So when you gain this feature at 10th level, and whenever you gain a new spell level, 11th, 13th, 15th, 17th, and 19th levels, is that right? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. Let's go double check our wizard cheat sheet. I think I'm right, but 1, 3, 9, 11, 13, 15. Oh, there isn't another spell level at 19. There's just 17th. And 17th levels, you may elect to reduce the reducing the number of hit dice is bad. That messes things up. So you may elect to not gain hit points at those levels when you level up. Not gain hit points at those levels. if you make this you may add a spell to your spellbook from another class's spell list instead of from the wizard spell list. You may always scribe this spell into a new spellbook that you obtain, but only you can understand and replicate this as a wizard spell. I think this is really good. I think it bleeds into the bard's territory too much, and wizards are already pretty frail, so you probably don't want to give up hit points at all of those levels. But I don't know. We're going to write it, and we may end up having to change this entirely. And I think, actually, I have it here. Is spellbook one word, or do they? Yeah, spellbook's one word for D&D. So there we go. That's our level 10 ability. Display order 4. Feature type granted. I don't know how that will actually work in the builder. I think you will have to manually manipulate your hit points at those levels if that's what you want to do. And that might mean, well, if you're using this, you're already using Homebrew. And let's go back to Bloodsmith, Aryssan, because we want to use, yeah, the same thing we have there, so that they all show up in roughly the same place. Save changes when you alphabetize. So there we go. 2, 6, 10. We need our level 14 class feature. And here, secrets of the blood, secrets of life and death. Starting at 14th level, the first time you would die, when you would die, instead you are noticed by the Bloodlord and cheat death. Expend as many spell slots as you choose, and gain D6 hit points per level of spell slots. You may expend any one spell slot as though you had cast a spell, and gain D6 hit points per +1, and gain D6 hit points per level of spell slot used, plus your Constitution modifier. Until your next turn, you attacks against you have disadvantage, and you have advantage on any saving throw made. So you may not remove this instance of being noticed by the Bloodlord, except by using remove curse, greater restoration, or no, let's just say remove curse. So start when you would you may only use this ability once per long rest, which I don't think is how these abilities are actually worded. So let's go find how these abilities are actually worded. Once you, okay, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Once you have used this ability, you may not use it again until you complete a long rest. So, since by 14th level, you've had what, 3 chances to spend hit points to get new out of the wizard spellbook spells. Here's your, you're probably going to die more frequently now because you're going to be lighter on hit points than even your regular wizard. So once a day, you get to cheat death. That's at level 14. Display order 5. And it's granted. It doesn't replace anything. And there we are. We have ourselves a wizard. You pilfer secrets from a extraplanar fiend, and you use it to make your spells do more damage, make your friends help you out, and then to cheat death and learn things that other wizards can't learn. Save changes. All right. So let's go back to our creations. Now is the fun part where we why is there all that extra space? Now, that's why there's all that extra space, because I put in a bunch of extra space. There we go. Now's the fun part where we hit the button and we see if we did it. I thought we fixed Blood Scepter too. I think we may just have a whole lot of extra spaces after things that I didn't know. So let's before we commit to hitting the publish button, let's check that out real fast and make sure we don't have even more unnecessary space issues. Yeah. So pilfering and improved both have it. There we go. Improved secret mastery. Creations. All right, are we now happy with our spacing? I don't like the extra spacing there. Okay. There's still so much extra spacing that we need to fix. Oh no, that's just how the spacing is. No, I guess that's it. That's just how it's gonna look. Well, that's ugly. All right, so the one thing that we do is we like to see if I can actually link a new tab. If we can actually create a character with all of these features. So we want homebrew content without hit point type. Yeah. Sources, it doesn't matter. We're gonna just be an elf today. We want to be a wizard, add class. So we go to level 2, Arcane Tradition. Does it show up for me? It does. Blood Scepter exists now. Okay. Pilfering Secrets exists now. Alright. And then we go up to level 6. Mm, there we go. Improved secret mastery. Level 10, Secrets of the Blood Forge. For that, there's just no way to really do it besides you're gonna just have to get manual with the character builder in Beyond. It's just how it's gonna work. And then level 14, Secrets of Life and Death. And then you can always just feel good while making placeholder characters. Background, let's just be a soldier. Next, no one needs any of that. Reaction. There we go. Attack save con 17. Is that right? Let's look at that. Proficiency bonus at this point is what, 5? And then our intelligence is 4, so that's 9. So yeah, no, that's right. It has the right save on there. That's pretty neat. There you have it. Like this was pretty easy, and I think having already thought out everything ahead of time helped to make it easier, and we don't need this random test wizard anymore. Delete. And now we come back to my homebrew creations. And so if you've been following us this far and you're curious, we're going to hit share with community, submit. Does it accept it? And it did. Awesome. So there we go. We have our Aryssan Blood Wizard. And now let's go ahead and yeah, there you go. If you want to test it out, it exists. Like I said, if you do end up using it, this is probably too good. Being able to offload concentration, but who knows? There's only really one way to find out. Yes, save that. So thank you for tagging along. I'm going to start trying to do stuff like this a little more frequently. Just for me, I've had this idea now for a couple of weeks, but until I said I'm going to sit down and do it on camera, it didn't get done. So I think forcing myself to do it on camera forces it to get done. So anyway, thank you so much. And yeah, if you've got anything, that's the rest of the world's homebrew. We don't need that. So yeah, thank you so much. And I will hopefully be back at some other point. So there's the stop streaming button.